Hi everyone, my name is Kevin and this is Kevin's Corner. And today I wanted to bring you part one of a three-part little video YouTube series I'm making called My Gunpla Journey. And I wanted just to describe how I got into anime, how I got into Gundam, and how I got later in life into Gunpla, and what I've learned from the community, what I've learned building Gunpla, and all the things that come with it. So without further ado, let's get started. What makes anime different from other forms of media and American animated shows is the complex storylines, tones, different subgenres, and art styles through a Japanese lens. Anime is hard to peg down to a single definition as there's so many different examples of what anime can be. Anime could be about anything, and genre portrayed in a way that one anime series could look radically and drastically different from another in both terms of story and themes. We know in American culture, mainstream viewers see shows like Teen Titans Go, Justice League Action, Steven Universe as shows aimed at kids, even though shows like Korra the Last Airbender, Adventure Time, and even the 90s version of Teen Titans could have more adult-themed topics and darker story threads. DC's animated movies are a perfect example of what looks like a kid's cartoon show, except that it is aimed at adults because it portrays animated scenes of sex, death, and violence. Anime is different in the sense that it could target any demographic and it isn't held to a negative label as it is in the West. And what I mean by that is that in the West, animated shows are often seen just for kids. But I think that narrative is starting to change a lot as even celebrities are starting to come out and show their support and love for anime. I found this list at ranker.com and I'll put the link in the description down below if you want to check out the list. You have celebrities like Snoop Dogg, Megan Fox, Avril Lavigne, Ronda Rousey who love anime. It just goes to show you how big anime has gotten and how deep it has penetrated into mainstream culture, that a lot of people are starting to come out and show support of their favorite animes. My favorite definition about anime is by far the one from urbandictionary.com, where they say, quote, although over 95% of anime has nothing perverted about it, most close-minded idiots think that anime is always some form of pornography, which is often confused with hentai. Animes could be anything. They could be 2-hour movies like Studio Ghibli films that capture the imagination of audiences with the themes of greed, the blurred lines between good and evil, and the world of an adult life. Or they could be serialized television shows that can range from any number of episodes as long as there is a story to tell. On average, some anime stories can range between 13 to 26 episodes to tell an entire story or season. More popular shonen animes that deal with a vast array of characters and action can easily go over 100 plus episodes. One Piece is currently one of the biggest ones at a whopping 835 episodes and counting. There are all kinds of animes with different genres and subgenres, just like any other form of storytelling mediums. I've watched so many different kinds of animes and so many animes that I can't even count them all. I mean, I've watched Dragon Ball, I've watched Trigun, I've watched Cowboy Bebop, I've watched Gurren Lagann, and I've watched so many different kinds of Gundam animes. Recently, I've loved My Love Story, I've loved My Hero Academia, Sword Art Online, One Piece. There's just so many to count, and so many of them are little smaller contained stories like Another, or Four Leaf Clover, or Black Clover. You know, there's just so many out there, and now with the internet, we have more video on demand services like Funimation.com and Crunchyroll.com. Both offer streaming apps on various different devices, and it makes watching anime so much easier. So I really recommend people to go pick up anime. You might find something that you like. Alright, let's get back to the show. Either way, I like anime because of the great storytelling, art styles, and or characters, but the way that people get introduced to anime is always different, and it also depends on the time period in which anime penetrates the Western mainstream, like it did with Toonami in the 1990s. The way I got introduced into anime started back when I was in elementary school. I don't have the exact time frame, but I'm guessing around 1993 was the year in which I was first exposed to anime. My father had bought a satellite dish, one of those massive gargantuan ones that you would put on top of your roof. It looked almost like if it was looking for an alien out there in space. From what my father told me, the person who installed it kind of screwed him over, and he had to go to court to avoid paying a $3,000 installation fee when he was promised that it would only cost $1,500. Adjusting for inflation and using the Department of Labor's inflation calculator, we're talking about almost $5,000 in today's economy. Either way, that dish didn't have that many channels, but it did have a random anime channel in Spanish, and the channel that ran constant commercials of phone sex. The first anime I saw was Ranma 1/2, and as a young child, I could tell that this cartoon was different from anything else that I had seen at the time. Then slowly and surely throughout the years, I would be exposed to all kinds of anime growing up. I watched Dragon Ball, then Dragon Ball Z on that same weird satellite channel. Eventually my parents got cable, and that led to watching anime on Cartoon Network's Toonami block. Also around this time, I was a huge Transformers fan, with my first Transformers series being Beast Wars. I've always been a kid that enjoyed sci-fi more than any other genre, and robots to me were the coolest thing ever. So many shows like Power Rangers and Beetleborgs would have all kinds of tech for fighting monsters. They would get vehicles, power-up suits, giant robots that would help them fight the bigger versions of those same monsters. And eventually I would collect a huge assortment of robot toys that still continues to this day, to be honest. But then I saw Gundam Wing, and that changed everything. I think another cool aspect about Gundam shows and just mech animes in general is that symbiotic relationship between man and machine, between the pilot and whatever mech suit he's driving. It reminds me almost of Titanfall 2, where you have your AI companion, or even in Infinite Warfare, where you also have your AI buddy. But it's a different kind of relationship because you are the one piloting this machine, and it almost feels like when people have their own cars. When people have their own cars, sometimes you give them names, you give them personalities, you thank them for getting you home safe and sound, because they could have broken. It could have broken on you at any second. Like it almost has that nature that I like about mech and Gundam animes in general, is that symbiotic relationship between man and machine. Even though a lot of people don't consider that a natural relationship, I think it's pretty cool, and I always like that sci-fi turn where people can trust their machines, and almost like if they're trusting their own child. So my first foray into Gundam was Gundam Wing on Toonami. I would catch an episode here and there, but this is before you could record shows on a DVR or watch them later through a video on demand service. All I knew and all I cared about was how damn cool and awesome these designs of the actual Gundams were. I hadn't seen a show where the robots were slim and elegant and were based on samurai armor, and it could run and fight, shoot beams, fight with lasers, and it was amazing. I loved the action and the sense of realism that was portrayed through both the politics of the show and the running theme of war. Gundam didn't feel like a kid's show to me because how deep the politics were and how violent the show was at the time. And you could tell it was an anime aimed at an older demographic. Now, if you were to ask me, what was Gundam Wing all about? I could not tell you at all because I don't remember it, and I tried to rewatch it and it does not hold up. Plus, we have better Gundam shows now that you can enjoy and watch. But like all kids, my attention span would eventually short circuit and I would move on to the next big thing. So my Gundam fan in me would slumber until my high school years, until Gundam Seed came out. I think after Gundam Seed and Gundam Seed Destiny, that's when I tried to actively look out for new Gundam shows whenever and however I could. I watched several of the older Gundam shows, but I would always look forward to the newer ones. I have plenty of gaps in my Gundam viewing catalog, but I'm happy with the amount of Gundam in my life. Currently, Gundam is having a brand new resurgence in mainstream America, with Iron-Blooded Orphans and Gundam Build Fighters becoming very popular. It's weird to me that Gundam has this amazing legacy in both anime and Japanese culture, but it hasn't blown up like other shows like Naruto, My Hero Academia, or Dragon Ball. But at the same time, certain Gundam shows are better and well suited for different time periods. I don't remember when or where I heard this, but someone made the analogy that the Gundam series is Japan's Star Trek. I think this is an apt comparison, as each Gundam entry tries to do something different than its predecessors, but still staying true to its legacy with familiar aesthetics and themes. I love the Gundam shows, and I want to make this video to tell you my backstory and how I got into anime and how I discovered Gundam. Gundam may be one of the best mech animes, if not the best mech anime, but there's a whole other side to the fandom when it comes to the toys based on the show. But I never cared too much of the actual Gundam toys known as Gunpla. You have to build it yourself? What? Were they too lazy to make the toys and have them shipped already made? Like Transformers did? Okay, I wouldn't have these exact same thoughts, but Gunpla never really appealed to me until recently. I have now come to learn to love what Gunpla offers and how it has changed my life in a positive way. But I want to save that story for another video. How did you get into anime? Do you love mech animes? I would love to know what your opinions are in the comment section below. Thanks for watching and helping me grow this channel by subscribing and giving a like or dislike. You can also watch me stream on Sunday mornings between 8 AM to 11 AM Pacific Standard Time at twitch.com/kevinscorner. Come hang out and we can chat. You can find the link to my Twitch channel in the description down below. My name is Kevin and this has been Kevin's Corner. Geeking it since 9 to 4.